So there aren't any Part A reports on here. So Andrew, you're moving this. Who would like to second that? Tim Scandrett would like to second that.
I wanted to just say a few things, and just even as a result of what you've actually said to us, or said to few previous board chairs, we have actually had a briefing on the cycleways, and that we're lucky to be part of the first 13. Maybe we might be under a cloud now if we're, if you're looking for funds, but we're certainly delighted. No. So we've had a briefing on that. We've had a briefing on that with our community already. So that's a good start, a great stuff. The text reminding you that something might have come out. Texts don't always work in Banks Peninsula, so not one rule for all.
Yep.
And it's really important about strengthening our own communities. And over this last storm event, what a superb job the team has done in keeping us informed of what's going on. Perhaps it may be practice making perfect, but it's certainly been overarching organisations having State Highway involved also in those news releases or those briefs to us. We've had them early in the morning, and we certainly on Banks Peninsula have got a number of trees that we can actually get that information out. So we really did appreciate that and greatly improved. There was one report that came out that talked about having sandbags at Little River. I did follow up but didn't follow it up well enough, and somebody apparently asked for sandbags and they weren't available. But our board has asked, and these minutes we do talk about it, we'd like some sandbags at Little River and some signage there to assist with the closing off of the road and things. But floods continue to be the major part of our focus at the moment. Although as a landowner, I'm actually starting to think about El Nino and thinking about the drought in the spring, so we're never happy. But you can see that the theme of our meeting here at our last board meeting was about the flooding, and this was pre-task force times, and we were organising a meeting pre that task force group, so we're now just waiting to pull that all together, and hopefully we will have our meetings teed up shortly to have with our community, with staff involved. If we go down to the bottom of the next page, page 34, where we start talking about state highway issues. State Highway 75 runs through the middle of Akaroa and goes to, or just before you come into Akaroa, and there are a number of issues that we've actually got with State Highway, including the general conditions of flooding on the State Highway. We've had some major flooding, trees, and a number of issues. So we have got a meeting with them. And we do, in the minutes there, we talk about arrows on roads, and we have got some arrows on roads, indicating which side of the road camper vans should be travelling on, just on our normal Akaroa roads. Disposal of surplus stock property on page 36. Our flat land in Akaroa is very special to us, and particularly when it's council land. Hopefully that land has been retained by the council, but flat land is very important to us, and disposal of surplus property. So we were delighted that we were involved in that process and presume that it's going to remain with the council and be taken on by council operations. On page 37, the Anzac Day services, we have the community board, and I think we're probably the only one in the city council area that host the community Anzac Day services. So they do involve quite a bit of organising. Our council staff or our support staff support us with that, and we're beginning the next journey of next year's celebrations. So it's quite an exercise and an undertaking for us, but we do appreciate the support of the staff that we have through. So, but just finally, in closing, in the few comments that I've got, I just really want to acknowledge our local staff and the difficulty that our local staff, the likes of Liz up here, and Wendy and Jeff and Val and others that are involved, it is difficult and challenging for them when it is wet, when there's flooding, and dealing with us as a community. And I just acknowledge the work that they do with us. They do a tremendous job and support us as well through the process. So there were just a few things that I wanted to highlight through our papers this time.
Can I just, on the back of that, suggest an amendment to the resolution if Councillors Turner and Scandrett agree, that the report as a whole be received, and that staff work with the local community board to determine how many sandbags need to be made available and where they will be stored locally. Because, I mean, you're expressing a degree of frustration about something that could be easily fixed.
Yes,
so,
yes.
But if we put a resolution on our books,
Yes.
then I'm going to say it will get done. So, Andrew and then Pauline.
The other aspect, as well as the sandbags, was the road signage, and I don't know whether we can put that in there. We have a particular problem with State Highway 75 at Little River, where when there's a significant amount of water there, and then you get four-wheel drive vehicles driving through, that causes wash that potentially causes water to go into businesses and homes. So if we could mention the word signage on there somewhere would be great. Sandbags and what signage maybe would be good.
Work with NZTA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Jane's just flicked in there and work with NZTA to determine appropriate signage for flood events.
Yeah, that's great. So the combination of the sandbags and signage should go a long way to solving the problem. And just to pick up what Pam was saying about flooding, I've been talking to staff this morning, and we're hoping to get a meeting in place for the week commencing the 19th of May. Well supported by council staff who've been doing heaps of good work recently, but also officers from ECAN who will be able to talk about the implications of Lake Wairewa issues and their relationship to Little River flooding as well. And just to pick up, Pam, also on your comments about the Anzac Day services, as a person attending both Anzac services in Little River for the first time, I thoroughly enjoyed them both and was actually really blown away by, first of all, the work done by community board members and community members in putting them together, but also the number of people attending those services.
Yes.
And certainly the cup of tea and sandwich function after each was a really good opportunity to be catching up with people. So, yeah, well done in organising those. It's great.
Well, thank you for coming. I was overcome when you walked up with the wreath along with the other board members. I was very proud of the team that was there with us on the day. Many thanks.
Pauline?
It was the sandbag thing I was picking up on too, but there is an urgency about that because we don't want to wait for an event to get the sandbags. No. We need them before. But also just on page 34, it was noted and moved to introduce a rating district to cover stream maintenance. How long ago was that? Was that before amalgamation?
No, it's been ongoing, sort of, I think, it may have been just before amalgamation, but 2010 there was another go at getting a rating district in the area. It's an Environment Canterbury rating district, it's not a City Council rating district. It's Environment Canterbury. There's a number of steps that need to be worked through, but you can have a catchment management plan that would cover that whole area, dealing with the willows, the management of the stream. Maybe it may include some river works in it. There may be a lot of things, but there is a number of people that have to vote, and you have to have voting numbers to get it over the line.
How do they do that? Is it a mail vote or a meeting?
Or yes. No, it's easily done. It's been done before. So it's what works around the Waimak, the Rakaia, all of those big rivers. They all have rating districts around them.
Okay.
The landowners all pay towards it, rated towards it. They have meetings on an annual basis. Yes, so it can easily be done, and it may be that we need to have a catchment rating for every district. We're looking at perhaps Akaroa might have one to deal with its, because people can't manage their rivers. It becomes too difficult. It's the boulders come down, the rubble comes down, the trees, the branches, and an ageing community, people don't know what to do. So that's the idea of it. So the river will be actually managed. And as you probably, I don't know whether you've heard, but I've assisting this whole flooding process, I've talked about adopt a culvert, and that for our Takamatua Residents Association, they have actually adopted a culvert. They've cleared one that was hugely full with rubbish and rubble and cleaned it out, they've GPSed it or whatever GIS mapped it, and they're going to be doing further a number of those in that particular community. And then at some stage, I think we'll probably match it what we've got with what council. Well, they could name them too, yes. But I mean, it's a good thing. We haven't got enough staff. There's not enough capability to do it. Not enough funding. So we're actually going to have to do a little bit more to make this system work. And if we can be there and look after those culverts that are the ones that we know are problem ones, we'll all benefit in the end. Because a lot of our problems are from poor stormwater systems, pipes that come out in the wrong place, and the pressure of intense water or intense rain plus the water in that pipe causes huge problems.
Yeah.
Like that, we could replicate that citywide and have a culvert hotline in the storm events, because seriously, they block up straight away with debris, and if we had a hotline and people could get out there and clear them, we could actually ease. We just had that with Ian Thresh and Shirley Papanui got one. He's been on about it for quite a long time, and staff finally got out and cleared it. And it's a little tucked away one that you wouldn't really know. So to get community involvement and letting us know, I think it's really good. Yeah.
Paul.
Do it themselves too.
Yeah, no, I quite like the shared model. It's good. Paul.
Just picking up on the road signage, we have exactly the same problem. Jan and I are out wading around on the last flood in the water and talking to some residents, and as we were there were four-wheel drives piling through, creating huge waves, but also just the actual road closures. I mean, there were some roads that just absolutely needed to be closed, and some of them weren't closed until later the evening. Yeah. So I think there needs to be a whole lot of thought put around to actually that street management.
Yep, totally agree. All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you very much, Pam.
Thanks.
And we appreciate the fact that you've come such a long way, but it's always worthwhile.
Yes, I'll make it worthwhile.